Everyone,
Good morning. How are you this morning?
hello there. Welcome everyone. We start on time. I'd like to introduce Grandmaster Gilles Savoie, who is the expert in the Taekwondo biomechanics. We're gonna have a pleasure and honor of having him give us the lecture, seminar, teachings, and know-how on his own foundings of his lifelong discipline. It's all yours, Grandmaster Savoie.
Good morning. Everybody can understand me? It's okay?
It's okay. Well, just a second. Everyone, please turn on your video and audio, at least the video, so we can see each other.
Okay.
You can turn off your audio when you don't speak, so that we'll let the Grandma Savoie speak. Just turn on your video, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Grandma
So,
Savoie.
good morning, everyone. So I will take a few minutes talking about biomechanics. And after talking about biomechanics, I'll be doing some demonstration. So that any time, it's important for me that you understand what I'm talking about. My first language is French, so I make sure that everybody understands what I'm saying. So we're good with that. So let's say we look at baseball, golf, and Taekwondo. There's one major thing in common that we have with baseball and golf and Taekwondo, which is we're striking an object. And to strike that object, another thing in common we develop power by rotating both hips, and we're using leverages system. All this is important to increase the impulse because what we're producing and transferring to the object is an impulse. So what is impulse? Impulse is a force applied for a period of time. So if you look at the formula here, we see that I is for the impulse, F is for the force, and T is for the time. So the force multiplied by time will give impulse. So in Taekwondo, we want to develop the highest impulse possible. For this, we need to increase the force and we need to increase the time. So what is force? We know that force is the mass multiplied by the acceleration. So if we're looking at this, if we study this formula, we know that if we can increase the mass, we'll increase the force. If we increase the acceleration, we'll increase the force. How can we increase the mass? Because our mass on Earth is our weight, so we have a single weight. Can we change the mass? We can change the mass that is projected at the striking point by displacing our center of gravity. So it's possible to change the mass. Is it possible to change the acceleration? Well, if we look at what is acceleration, we know that acceleration is the change of velocity divided by time. So now we got some information here that we can work on. How can we change or increase the change of velocity? In our body, we've got leverage system. So if we can use those leverage system, we can increase the velocity. If we decrease the time, how can we decrease the time? Well, we need to change the velocity in a short period of time. To do this, the leverages system that we are using, all the lever that we're using needs to be displaced in a straight line because the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So all the movement should be based on a straight line to decrease the time. So if we can increase the velocity change by using the leverage, we can decrease the time, we'll increase our acceleration. We just talk about that. Now we can increase the acceleration. We can increase the mass by transferring more weight at the striking point. Coming back at the impulse, we said that impulse is the force multiplied by time. So we've learned that we can increase the force by increasing the mass and increasing the acceleration. How can we increase the time here? The time that we apply the force. Let's say, for example, that we have a person on the toboggan that's on top of a hill and he wants to go downhill on the snow. So we need to give an impulse to go fast and go down the hill. So we've got one way to do it. We can take both hands and apply a force on his back and push him so he'll go downhill. The second way to do it, I can displace my center of gravity toward him as I'm pushing. So if I move my center of gravity while I'm pushing, I will increase the time I'm applying the force. So this is important here. So this means all our technique, we need to move our center of gravity while the force is being developed so we can increase the impulse. Everybody follows me? This is an introduction. So the biomechanics is, there's a lot of formula to better understand. I got 300 pages in my book talking about biomechanics. So I'm using about an hour to talk about it. It's very short. So if you don't understand, don't be shy to ask questions. It's detailed here, the different formulas to better understand all the, what impulse is, what the force is, everything is there. Yes.
Corrupt. Can I
Yes.
ask a question?
Yes, that's what I want. This is
You
my way to
know,
know if I'm going too fast or.
of course, you know, remembering back in our school ages, many decades ago, when we first see mathematic formulas, we get scared because
Yes.
not everyone was good at mathematics. So I don't want all our people to get scared about mathematics. Can you give us, in plain language, a brief introduction of what biomechanics mean? Why biomechanics in Taekwondo? Can you give us some verbiage, please?
Well, we're talking about movement. All of our kicking, like I said, for golf, baseball, we're striking an object. So we're using movement, body movement, to develop power. We cannot create energy. There's a law. Energy cannot be created. Energy cannot be destroyed. Energy can be transformed. So we got energy in our body. We need to transform it to increase speed, decrease time by the way that we're moving. This is all part of our body. If we're studying the biomechanics, we can understand how all this works all together, because everything is related. If we try to separate the movement, it won't work. The reason why there's life is because there's imbalance. Imbalance will, when we want to walk, we need to put ourselves into imbalanced position. It's while we're searching balance that we can walk. If there be balance in the world, everybody will be dead. It's because there's imbalance that there's life. It's the search for balance that makes things move. So biomechanics helps us understand the principle that the interreaction on all those movements, and how to apply, synchronize everything so we can create high impulse, because that's what we want to do in Taekwondo. We want to strike. So there's formula to help us understand. This formula for impulse is force multiplied by time, but impulse is also the change of momentum. I could talk about momentum, which I talk in the book, which is another view. It's another representation to understand what impulse is. Impulse is very important. This is what we're doing in Taekwondo. For this morning, I was talking about just this formula, using it, because it's easy to understand. We're using a force. We're applying it on a period of time. Later on in this morning, we'll see how we can develop the force by using our hips, by moving the center of gravity. We will see the application, but the biomechanics help us to use the right word. Are we talking about force? Are we talking about momentum? Are we talking about time or velocity? speed. So if we want to teach as a coach, using the right terminology will help people to understand more what's all about when they want to read other material. And one of my goals here this morning is to make it easier to understand the simple biomechanic principles that are there. They're there for us to use, to apply, to develop power. How are we going to do the douchagi, a round kick? Different style of martial arts have different ways to do it, but the biomechanics are the core inside. I don't invent or create the biomechanics. They are there. So it is a study to help us understand. And when we understand it, then we can say, okay, we'll use this. This will help me to develop power. It's not an invention. It's there. It's a study to make us understand it. Then we can take ownership of it and put it inside of us to enhance our movement. Is it a good explanation for biomechanics, Master Kim?
I'm following you. Yes, yes, please continue. I'm following you.
Okay. So impulse for me is kind of a view that we're not too much exposed to see in Taekwondo, but it is there. And we look very similar to playing golf, the way we're moving, the way we rotate both hips. And I'm saying both hips. In kicking techniques, a lot of people forget that we've got two hips. They're only using one hip movement. There are two. When we play golf, we're using both hips. When we play baseball, we're using both hips. So we'll see that later on. So okay, we learned a few principles of biomechanics right now. The next thing we'll do is to see a little bit of application on it. How can we apply those principles to poomsaes? If I ask you a question, what is the main purpose of a poomsae? Not a poomsae, sorry, of seogis, stances and the poomsaes. What are they used for? Why do we use a stance or a seogi and poomsaes? Basically, the main use of stances are there to displace the central axis into a straight line. So then both hips can rotate 30 degrees. And when they rotate, they're synchronizing with the leverage system inside of our body. So the stances is there to help us rotate both hips 30 degrees. And all the stances, the central axis is being displaced in straight line. We're not doing circle, it's all straight line. Because the shortest point, the shortest distance between 2 points is the straight line. That's very important. And while the both hips are turning, we're synchronizing all the leverage system, depending if we're kicking, if we're punching or blocking, we got different levers, and all those leverage system are synchronized with both hips. This is one purpose. We'll see it in application. Any question on this? So just a reminder, for me it's important. What's the main purpose of seogis, stances? Is to displace the central axis in a straight line, allowing 30 hip rotation and synchronizing all leverage system. This is very important. In poomsaes, we've got feet. So what are the feet used for? So when we look in that competition in poomsaes, we look at the feet. For me, when I look at an athlete, the way that their feet are being positioned, how they're using it, gives me a good idea if they understand all the biomechanics inside of the poomsae. So one of the main purpose of the feet position sugis is to allow both hips to develop power to rotate on the central axis. So the feet are only there to allow the hip develop the power necessary to rotate. It goes okay? We've covering many points, and I'd like to gather that in 5 points that we'll see and we will be using at all time during the presentation. The point A, the first one to remember, both hips are driving the movement. So all the technique that we're doing, all the movement, the both hips are there. I just lost the camera. Do you still see me? Okay. Okay, we're good. Point A, both hips are driving the movement. They're the core. If we talk about kicking, blocking, the hips have to be involved. The second one, B, the movements from imbalanced position, searching for balance. We cannot be stable. So if we're thinking throwing a kick, throwing a punch from a stable position, we're wrong. We want movement. To have movement, we need to be in balance. And it's while we're searching the balance that will develop the power that we can rotate, we can throw the punch. We'll see that later on. I'll do the physical demonstration. So point B. Point C, all the movement in straight lines. No circle. We want to be fast. We want to develop high acceleration. So we need to displace the center of gravity, the central axis, all straight line. Point D, both hips rotate 30 degrees on central axis. I just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with the central axis. I'll just do a small demonstration. Just to make sure we use the same terminology. Okay, if I want to start the central axis, I'm doing a straight line from my head, following my spine, going down to the floor. This is my central axis. Straight line here going down. If I want to rotate both hips, they turn from the central axis. The central axis don't move, but both hips turn from the central axis. Okay. So if I want to throw a block, the hips, this is 0 degrees. This is 30 degrees. If I want to do an outside to inside block, 30 degrees, I'm blocking. Can we rotate less than 30 degrees? High performance athlete, some can do 15 degrees and fill the block. Remember, all the leverage, this is a lever here. I've got one lever here, one lever here, the shoulder, the hip here, and the hip here. So I've got one lever, one lever, 1 second. I've got third, four. I've got 4 levers. The lever, all these have to move while the hips are turning. So if I'm turning 30 degrees, all this has to come from here, finish. If I turn and I do that, I lost all this power. So all these, the leverage system have to be in movement at the same time while I'm turning 30 degrees. If I want to turn 10 degrees, this has to be terribly fast. So I have to be very, 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 very much trained to be able to do this in 10 degrees, which is possible. But for teaching, when we're teaching to students, what we see in competition, even the world champion, 30 degrees is the key word. More than that, don't have explosive power. 30 degrees is accessible for black belts. If some can do it in less, that's great, but we need to have a movement. The important part is that everything moves in that 30-degree rotation. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Can I ask
No.
First, I would like to say respect to Grandmaster Kim first.
Yes.
And then Grandmaster Gilles, I want to ask, in the case that our athlete has injured, for example, and he recovered it to try to enter the situation.
Sorry, I could just increase the volume. Okay. I just have hard time hearing.
Yeah. Can you hear? Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat, please?
Yeah, I have a case that one of our athletes got injured, and right and left leg has the same power, has different power, left and right. So in this case, you say that to gain power, we need to have balance, right and left foot, right?
I didn't say balance.
The balance, yeah, the balance, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like to
no,
gain
we
power,
need to be in balance. You
Yes.
need to be in balance.
Yes, exactly. Oh,
You don't want
need to be
balance. You
balanced.
cannot have, if you have balance, you won't have
Okay.
movement.
Yes. So I want to know how to you say also you mentioned about the speed and so on, right? When the right and left feet has no the same balance, for example, to gain the power as you mean.
They don't have the same balance.
Yeah.
They don't have the same balance. Like
Yeah.
when if I'm doing my blocking here, nothing, they don't all move at the same speed, but they all move at the same time because they have different lengths of levers. So they won't move at the same time. They will have different speed. If I want to do a low block, a limaki, this will move 30 degrees, 90 degrees. This will move 30.
Yeah.
So they won't have the same displacement, but they'll move in the same time. They won't have the same weight. Weight will be transferred. So when I'll be using my feet, when I'll be using my feet, I won't have, if I'm doing that beat, I don't have the same weight on each leg, but I'll still rotate on my central axis. The weight won't be distributed equally on each feet. It
Yeah.
cannot, not for a stance.
Thank you very much, sir. I think clear. This is exactly what I want to know.
Okay, it will be clearer later on, I think. So, like example, if you're inside a train, a locomotive, a train that travels 10 kilometers an hour, okay, and you're inside that train and you're running 10 kilometers an hour inside the train. At the same time you're running, you're throwing a punch. So if there's someone outside the train standing and looking through the window and measures the speed of your punch will go 30 kilometers an hour for him because the train is going 10, you're running 10, you're punching 10. So everything adds up. But if you stop running, the train goes 10 and you throw your punch will be 20, you lost 10. So this is why if I turn my hips, the hips have, while this move all at the same time. I cannot turn and do that after. Turn that. Other people, they do a stance, block, stance, block. This is over. So you lost all the power that was, the potential power that was there to help you deliver the technique. So everything has to move. So if I'm standing in a, yeah, I think you see my, I'll put it door. Don't want to go too far. Okay. From ready position, I want to do that to be. I want to do a front stance on that side. Like if I want to walk, what's the first thing to move if I want to walk? I need to put myself into balance. Okay, we've learned that. So if I want to go do a front kick this side, I need to conduct everything with my hips. I need to put my hips into imbalance. So I need to do this. I don't move the foot first. First thing to move is my central axis, this line. So I'm I'm displacing my central axis. So I'm in an up to B position. My heel is not on the floor. My feet are there to allow both hips to deliver the power. Okay. So my left hip here will send power to the left foot. The right hip will send power to the right foot. It goes to the floor, then it bounces back. Then I can turn. So I'm turning from this part, from my central axis. The heel is up. I'm sending power there, comes back, then I turn. What did I move first? It's not my foot. I put myself into imbalance. This is the way I'm going to move fast. Move fast. Transfer my central axis. So I'm in position for that could be. The heel is up. Then I can turn. Now I can add the leverage system on that. So I'm moving both hips. central axis there. I'm charged. As my heel, as I'm pushing, sending power to my feet, comes back. Then I do the alemaki. Okay, it's not turning alemaki. This wasn't used. So as I'm here, both hips are turning. Not just this one. Other people, they just push with the rear one. I'm losing half the power. Both here, power. Both power. Okay. From this position, I want to do back stance on the other leg. What's driving? Like we said a while ago, we got the 5 points. First thing here, both hips are driving the movement. I'm putting myself in between balance, searching balance, straight line, both hips rotate 30 degrees, and then leverage system are connected to the central axis at all times. So I'm into a front stance. I want to do back stance. What I have to do, central axis has to go where my pivoting point is. The pivoting point is here. I cannot just turn like that. This I'm taking some weight, I'm moving it. Okay, to turn fast, I take my central axis, I put it in my pivoting point, and I can turn. Displace my central axis for a back stance. My feet, the heel is still up. Both hips are sending power to their foot. Then I can turn. So I'm here, conducting with both hips, central axis, pivoting point. I turn on this line, which I can turn fast. My line is here. Central axis move a little bit. So my center of gravity is here for a back stance. Heel is up. I can connect the leverage system there. From this position, turning. So both feet are sending back the power to the hips. So the hips can turn. Not just once. Is it clear? Yes, Mr. Sterling?
Hi, how are you, sir?
Very good myself.
Yes, everybody can hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I teach pretty much exactly what you were saying there, but in a different way. I like to say, to simplify things, that the balance is directly related to the distribution of the energy of your movements of your body when you are performing. So, like you were explaining, the rotation of the hips with the central axis and the energy that you take to deliver a punch, deliver a block, is directly related to the opposite, like to have balance. Like, in order to have balance, you have to have two opposite forces, like you've been saying that. If everything is equal, there is no energy. So
And no life.
the movement,
And no life.
huh?
And no
Yes.
life. So there's life on Earth because it's in balance. Everything's circle.
Exactly. So it's yin and yang, right?
Yes.
The harmony of the positive and negative, energy. So in resume, the basic skills of Taekwondo is the foundation of everything that you do further on throughout the Taekwondo skills, including punching, blocks, kicking, self-defense, and everything. So the energy is directly related to the movements of your body. So if you, in order to generate balance, you're going to have to move other things in opposite directions in order to increase force, like your formula says. So I'm just trying to simplify what you were saying. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. we share the same view on it. Okay. Everything is motion. So let's see for kicking now. The same 5 principles we need to apply in kicking. Let's say we want to, well, before talking about kicking, kicking is very important to, we still need a 30-degree rotation with both hips. When we're talking about poomsaes, we're talking about 30 degrees because we're talking about tension. In kicking technique, it's a little bit different because hip orientation is very important according to the target, in relation with the kicking technique we're doing. So instead of talking about degrees, we'll talk about the clock system. If we look at a circle, how many degrees are there in a circle? 360. If you look at the clock, there are 12 hours on the clock. So if you divide 360 by 12, it gives the magic number of 30. So if I'm talking about 1 hour of hip movement, I'm talking about 30 degrees of hip movement, about the same thing. So when I'll be talking about kicking, I'll be talking about hours because the target or the opponent will be at 12 o'clock. So all my hip rotation will be in relation with the target with the 12 o'clock, which would be easier. But still the movement is 30 degrees. An hour of movement is 30 degrees. So if we, I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit. Okay. Talking about just a round kick. Okay. Bichagi, people have different name for it. A common way that we see people doing the round kick is like this. If we study this a little bit, the first thing they're doing, they're lifting the knee, and then they're doing a circle with it. Lifting the knee, like if I'm taking a big object with the arm extended, and I'm doing a circle with it. So imagine the energy taken just to rotate, how heavy it is, so it's very slow and delivers little power. And we're not applying, doing this moment this way, we're not applying either of those principles. So I need to move the hips 1 hour. I did a rotation, complete rotation with it, but there's no 1 hour. So considering the target is at 12, I need to move my hips 1 hour. So my hips have to be, my right hip have to be placed at 1 o'clock. So I can move it from 1 to 12 to hit the target. Okay. So the first thing I need to do is to displace my hip into a position at 1 o'clock so I can hit the target. Displace 12. Okay. So I'm in a fighting position. I want to displace it. First thing to do, I conduct with both hips. I need to put myself into imbalance. I just need to push my hip till it's at 1. So my hip will have to travel this distance. I'm not talking about the leg for now. My hip here, this is 12. This is 12. My hip is at 1 o'clock. The rear hip is at 7 o'clock. Okay, everyone follows me? 12 is the target. My hip is here. I want to hit the target, so I need to rotate on my central axis 1 hour. So this, my right hip will go from 1 to 12. The rear one will go from 7 to 6. I need to do this. I need to rotate on my central axis. Let's apply the leverage system now, my kicking technique. Down here, I want to displace my knee. I want to go like that. My knee is pointing to 12 o'clock, to the target. Right hip is here, is at 1. The rear one is at 7. So I need to bring the rear hip from 7 to 6 o'clock. I need to bring my right hip from 1 o'clock to 12. So both will rotate my central axis here. Okay. So which is 30 degrees movement for an hour. As these will rotate, I want to increase the mass, that high impulse, so I need to transfer more weight as I hit. So my rear hip will move forward as I'm going to rotate, and the right one will pull. So this will do this. So if I do sideways, this one, the rear one will move to 6. The right one will move from 1 to 12. The rear one will move forward. This one will pull. So this is the BHAE. I'm filling the 5 conditions I've written on the paper a while ago. I'm putting myself into imbalance. If I want to walk, I've got mass over there. I'm rotating 1 hour. Finding position. Furthermore, because I'm controlling both hips, I can hit, come back. I can redirect my technique because I'm turning on my central axis. And all the time, like we said here, both hips are driving. I'm moving from imbalanced position, searching balance, moving in straight line. Both hips rotate 30 degrees on central axis. And leverage system connected all time to central axis. So, all this, I'm turning from this point, both hips are moving. My leg is down, so I'm not doing a circle like this. I'm not supporting all that weight for no reason. It is just being down. My hip is driving the leg. It's not my leg is driving the hip. My hip is driving it. It's short distance, 3 lines, very fast. If it's fast, acceleration times the mass, high force. Any question on this? I'll do a last one with the back kick. Same principle. Back kick, common way, people turn, they do a back kick. Same problem here. Lifting my knee to turn. I'm taking a heavy object. I'm turning it. Slow. Little power because it's slow. The speed is the power. Like in poomsaes transition, first thing to move are my hips. I want to throw a back kick. First thing, central axis. Central axis going over there, where I want to hit. Central axis. My hip here has to go to 11 o'clock. It will move from 11 to 10 o'clock. It's very different than a beach ID or a run kick. Because a back kick is similar to a side kick. It is a thrust kick. Something that goes through. It's not a snap kick. So we'll move from 11 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Central axis being displayed straight line. I'm not doing a circle. My hip goes to 11 o'clock and turn down to 10 o'clock. So central axis first. Lift my leg, my hip points to 11 o'clock and it turns. Want to do back kick. Moving straight line, no turning. So I'm not losing my balance. If the opponent moves, I hit nothing. I don't go lose my balance. I'm not turning. Moving straight line. Just for example here, everything is detailed here. Like with a round kick, the target is at 12 o'clock. My right hip is on the needle that points to 1 o'clock. The left hip of the needle that points to 7 o'clock. The central axis has 95% of the weight on the rear leg. The knee is at 12 o'clock on the same line as the target. So when the hip will move for an hour, the knee will have moved to 11, so it will have strike the target. So at the end, when it's completed, the right hip now is at 12. The left hip now is at 6. The central axis is at 90%. So it has put 5% more of weight on the target. So that increases mass. The knee is now at 11 o'clock. So it went from 12 o'clock to 1 to 11. So it went through the target. All the techniques here are detailed. All the biomechanics is very there. There's diagrams on the stand. Looking at the back kick. First thing to move, the central axis in straight line toward the target. The target is at 12 o'clock. The right hip is at 11. The left hip is at 5 o'clock on this one. Central axis. I got 90% of my weight for the back kick on the rear leg. As I rotate both hips, now the right hip is at 10 o'clock. The left hip went from 5 to 4. And the central axis from 90% to 85%. So it put 5% more weight on the target. This is a back kick. All the techniques, I got position where mistakes are. So, if you don't find the mistake, the answer is here to help you understand how to deliver the technique properly. So the main thing to remember, impulse is kind of the right or the very easy to understand view of the biomechanics surrounding the movement in Taekwondo. It's easy to target the key points that we need to work on. We need to work on the force. To work on the force, we need to work on the mass transfer. We need to work on the acceleration. That's to develop high explosive technique. We need to work on the time that we apply the force and the time that we take to accelerate. That's very important. So the 5 key points, remember, the hips are driving the movement at all time. A lot of people, they drive with the knee. They try to snap everything. The knee is like just boom, boom, doing that to the face of someone. There's no power. The knee are not driving. The knee are slave to the hips. The hip, everything drives. Like Master Sterling, he did the 1-inch punch. 1-inch punch, not traveling. You don't need to travel much because you're connected with the center. Your central axis. Central axis, that's all your power. You don't need to make very big and long movement. As long as everything is from this part, you're turning, you're punching, central axis. This is the core of your body. Attach to the core all the levers that your body offers. And on most techniques, there are 4 levers, 4 leverage systems that you can use that are being connected to the central axis to deliver that power that we're all looking for. And when you're turning with the central axis, you can correct your balance afterwards. That's what I did a while ago. I want to do a BHID. I want to do, I need to lower the camera. Okay. Because my hip, I can toggle both way, forward, backward. I can, that easy. Everything, I've got the control here. If I'm lifting a big weight, I'm throwing like that, I'm being off balance. I cannot recuperate that because there's too much inertia. But by your central axis, I've got 2/4 of the hips that can come back. So there's a lot of different strategy in fighting that I can use. I can do a round kick clockwise. do a spin kick counterclockwise because everything comes back to my core, to my central axis. I know it's a lot of information that I agree with it, but there's no invention. Everything that I've discussed is there in your movement. It's in your body. It's just to taking what you feel comfortable with in your technique and try to make it better. For me, I always try to optimize my technique. I love Taekwondo. I've been practicing Taekwondo for more than 55 years now. I'm 64. I started at 9 years old. It's my passion. And my passion is to optimize to make it better. I want to understand what's going on, what's inside my body. And I want to try to make it easier for you guys. The information is there, and it's easy to apply, because we see people doing all kinds of acrobacy, turning the air. When you master your center of gravity, you're not going against the force of nature. When you're finding the right imbalance and searching for the right balance, everything adds up right. It's the right way. It's like having a whip. A whip, you want to make a high pitch noise. It's a high pitch. It's going to hurt a lot because there's a lot of velocity, but it's just about movement. Technique are basically the same. Take ownership of the movement of your body and be. That's why I like to do poomsaes as well. I like both. I like fighting. I like poomsaes. But poomsaes are the application of biomechanics. If you're doing it wrong there, you see it right away. In fighting, and today's fighting is to score points. You touch, you got a point. Even though your round kick was bad, as long as you touch, you got a score. But in poomsaes, your presentation is worth 6 points. If you're not using your center of gravity, central axis, the hips are not there, you lose some scoring. It's poomsaes are a very good school to practice the biomechanics, and then try to take this and bring it to your kicking technique. Use the same principles that we've seen in action that really work in poomsaes. They really work in kicking technique as well. So I can talk long time. I got plenty to talk about, and I don't want to say too much. I wanted to stick to this. This formula is very important. Be very comfortable with it. And if you have questions now, I'm free. Later on, send me information. Send me questions by an email or with the WTO Telegram. It's a passion for me, so I really love talking about it. So don't be shy, and don't be shy. Ask questions. It's if you're not comfortable, it's something you didn't understand well, and you don't ask about it, you won't be able to add up afterwards. Yes, Master Sterling.
Uh, so I have over mechanics. I have been studying for the past 15 years how your body can improve your power. How can you improve to deliver your skills with precise and with the enough force. And this force you also can control. You can have intensive, you can have medium, you can have light force. So I teach this to my students and I show them how to control. So by understanding the biomechanics of your body and you work with the energy of the universe, the energy which is around you and inside of your body, you can deliver uh, like a pretty much as force on and striking that you can think you can do. So what I teach is how to canalize this energy so you can have your force of a strike triple, 3 times as much that you normally do. How can we improve this? You cannot improve your strike force without you understanding how the mechanic of your body works. Once you understand that, like you're saying, the short distance between A and B is a direct line. So most of the skills of Taekwondo is a more direct hit. Many people does certain skills, which is I don't say, I don't comment about it, but when you perform with the correct alignment of your center of gravity of your body and you distribute the energy correctly, not you not you have to compensate the energy that goes forward with something that's going to stay in balance and going backwards. So you can launch all the energy from your kick or from your punch or whatever strike that you want to do in one point that you want to strike. So at this coming seminar in São Paulo and Minas Gerais, I'm gonna talk about that because I read some of your biomechanic things, and there is a way, not a way. It is very important that the people know how to canalize the energy that you possess using your movements of your body. With the speed, with the force, you can like a triple the end of a force, like you were saying, the whip. Get all the energy on a whip slash. That's gonna have an explosion in the end. And that explosion is all the energy that you accumulate on the movement of the whip. And then you pull it. When you pull it, all the energy goes at once. So, and this happened when you know exactly what to do with your punch. So this is why people sometimes don't understand how 1 inch punch works, or how can you do a certain type of strike. Like for instance, you poke a finger through a watermelon. How this is possible? It is possible if you know how to do it, if you know how to distribute and deliver the energy at the correct time. So I like this. I have a passion for this because energy is about everything in Taekwondo, how you distribute that. So I think, I don't know, maybe you and I one day we should give a seminar about this because this is very important because I discovered this myself by doing demonstrations of Kyopa. Is one of my passions was Kyopa. And how I could do those breaking baseball bats and things like that, and how this was possible. So I explained that how you canalize the energy of your body through movements of your hips. So I really like it very much. And also I like to say I will be happy to leave in about 10 to 15 minutes. I do have an appointment. So, but we have a lot to talk down the road. Thank you.
I'm sure, but because what I talked today was the physical point, the movement around central axis, the energy that drives that, mental power, concentration, visualization, all the energy, all these are elements that work together. I did this morning was the physical part, but I fully agree with you. I didn't talk about energy, about the mental, about the muscles, how the muscle react, the chemicals inside, what is driving. What we've seen this morning is like a car, but it's like a nice car, good wheels, good bearings, everything, all the physics are there, but you need some fuel, you need some electricity to make that work together and to be able to drive the car. That's something else, and that's something that you talk about very well. So it'd be nice to talk more together. Will that seminar in Brazil be recorded?
Yeah, it's being recorded. We usually finish our Zoom meeting, whatever the content, around 1 hour. So we have about 6 minutes to go. Before we finish, I'd like to introduce one special person who has participated in our Zoom meeting. His name is Bishop Grandmaster Jeffrey Hollins. He's a bishop in church. He's a long-time martial artist. Can you please turn on your mic and say a few words of introduction of yourself? Turn on your mic. You're mute. And your video, please. Oh, you're mute.
Your mic.
You're mute. Turn on your mic. Master Hollins, turn on your mic, please. Your mic is off. Your mic is off. Master Hollins, you need to turn on your mic. Nope, that's a video.
I believe I have it, sir.
Okay, now turn on your video. That was a mic. Turn on your video. Oh, you're doing it again. You're turning it off again. That's all right. You got some technical difficulties. Next time, maybe. Next time. Okay, any more questions, everybody? All right. I'd like you to turn on your video and audio if you can, because we're going to wrap it up with our ritual of saying 차렷, 경례, and Taekwondo. Please turn on your video and audio. Turn it on, please. Everyone turn on your video and audio. Your video and audio, please. Sound. Turn on your sound, please. Mr. Daneth, Mr. Richie, Satayan, Erizal, everyone, please turn on your sound. Henry. Okay. Grandmaster Savoie, thank you very much. Any last minute comment you'd like to give to us before we go?
I was happy to have this few minutes to discuss. And like I say, don't be shy. You can contact me anytime by Instagram, by Telegram, by email, and I can answer questions. I'm here to support and to help the understanding so we can apply this and optimize our techniques.
Sounds good. Grandmaster Honobo.
Yep, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, I see many of your colleagues or students
Yes.
from Indonesia. I can
Yes, sir.
recognize them. Please send them my Telegram invite link. I'd like to invite them to our WTO Leadership Committee room so we can continue the communication and collaboration.
Yes, sir. They already showing interest. Also, they tell me last time during the meeting in Surakarta in Solo, as you also make one of introduction speech about WTO. So I will
send you my link again. Please share those links with your students and your masters. Okay.
Yes.
All right. When we finish our meeting, we always do our Taekwondo ritual: 차렷, 경례, and Taekwondo. Grandmaster Stalin, can you take the honor of initiating the ritual, please?
Yes, sir. And 차렷, 경례, Taekwondo.
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 All right. See you next time,
Thanks
everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks for seminar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Grandmaster Savoie.
Bye.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
So two meetings in the last time, two meetings in the next time.
Next
Thanks.
time. Bye-bye now.
I do apologize,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Yeah.
Thanks.